Hi everyone, welcome to my first podcast. My name is Ian. I'm glad to be here with you. And let me introduce myself a little bit. I used to be a kindergarten teacher. One of the things I like to do with my students was to read a book. And that's why I have so many children books with me. What I like about reading children's story is simple story with easy English words which I can easily understand. And most of the books aim to teach children some thoughts. So today, I would like to read a book for you, and let's see what you learn from this story. The book I picked is called Lost and Found. It was written by Oliver Jeffers and published by Scholastic, my favorite publisher. And the story begins with this. Once there was a boy who found a penguin at his door. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He began to check in the lost and found office, but no one was missing a penguin. Then he asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that. Again, the boy asked his toy duck as he was soaking in the bathtub, but the duck floated away. He didn't know either. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He really wanted to help the penguin, but he wasn't sure how. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? He ran down to the harbor and asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole, but his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. So together the boy decided he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. He started to take his rowboat out and tested it for size and strength. He told stories to the penguin to help pass the time. Then they packed everything they would need and pushed the rowboat out to sea. They rowed south for many, many days and many, many nights. There was lots of time for stories, and the penguin listened to every one. So the boy would always tell another. Well, they floated through good weather and bad, when the waves were as big as mountains, until finally they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. Then the boy said goodbye and floated away. When he looked back, the penguin was still there, but it looked sadder than ever. It felt strange for the boy to be on his own. There was no point telling stories now, because there was no one to listen except the wind and the waves. Instead, he just thought. And the more he thought, the more he realized he had made a big mistake. The penguin hadn't been lost. It had just been lonely. So quickly he turned the boat around and rowed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. At last, he reached the South Pole again. But where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Sadly, the boy set off to be home. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see the penguin. And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. And here is the end of the story. In this story, the penguin seemed to get lost, but he finally found a good friendship with the boy. In our real lives, sometimes are the same. While we think we have lost something, but on the other hand, we have found something else. I myself once have lost my beloved teaching job because I have had to help my family run the business. But what I found was more opportunities to learn new things in the business area. If I still were in my comfort zone, I would probably not have a chance to learn new skills. What about you? What do you learn from this story? What have you lost and what have you found? So let's share your thought in the comment below. Thanks for listening. See you in the next podcast. Bye.